Happy Sunday. I hope that you are spending time with the people that you love and relaxing and resetting for a new week that's going to start. You know, I always used to dread Mondays. And then I found a schedule that I had Sunday, Mondays off, and then I dreaded Tuesdays. And now I don't really dread any day of the week because they all kind of run together, but in a good way, you know? So I thought I would hop on here today, and I get questions all the time in my inbox. Hey, Christina, how did you guys get to where you are? How do I bridge this from that? How do I shift my job that is a 9-to-5 online? How do I start changing my lifestyle so I can spend more time with my kids? These are questions that I get asked all the time. And so I thought I would come on here and tell you, first start with a story. Because my husband and I have been able to create a pretty epic lifestyle in our mid-30s. We're now getting into our later 30s. Ryan just turned 40. So we've taken the last few years and we've really shifted our lifestyle. Ryan used to be a bartender. He was a career bartender, did that from the time he was 19, bought his first condo, flipped his first condo, flipped his second condo, flipped his third condo, then bought a beautiful home downtown Victoria that we had two Airbnbs in, and my salon out of there as well, and we lived in it. So we always kind of joke that we turn our properties into revenue, like we're living in a business. And we've already, you know, this year been able to create other streams of income, and I want to share that with you. So I want to tell you a really quick story. Have you ever watched a fly in your house smash into the window, and it is desperately trying to get out, and you'll watch it smash into that window so many times, and even sometimes you open the window and it doesn't go out the window, but it keeps smashing into the window? But no matter how hard that fly tries, it's going to smash into the window, smash into the window, smash into the window. It will never break through that window, and it will probably die on that window ledge just dreaming of their life outside. And that's the sad reality of that story. But the irony is, 10 feet away, the door's open. They could fly right outside if they wanted to. 10 feet away, they could just change their course. And so over the past, my husband and I have been together since 2008. So over the past 12 years, something that Ryan and I really have enjoyed doing together is dreaming together. So we never think about where we are right now, but we think about where we're going. What do we want to have? How do we want to live? What do we want our lifestyle to look like? How do we want to raise our kids? How do we want to give back in our community? What are the things that we want to do? And we're always on the same page. But this one thing is the thing that got us here. And I'll tell you what that is. It's the ability to pivot. That fly that kept smashing into the window, thinking the harder it worked, the harder it worked, the harder it worked, that it would break through, had a sad reality. Kind of like the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. But the fly doesn't have the ability to think and pivot, and we do. We have the ability to take a problem and come up with a solution. We're critical thinkers. That is something that is very unique to us as humans. So instead of being in a situation where we would work harder and harder and harder, often Ryan and I could see that there was a problem coming down the pipeline. Now, whether that problem was not enough money, whether that problem was not enough spending time together, whether that problem was not or having conflicting schedules, whatever that problem was, we saw what the problem was and we made steps to fix it or change, right? I initially went to school for music. I didn't want to go to university. I didn't like going to university. I barely passed because I didn't want to be there. It wasn't for me. I wanted to get out there and start learning from people that were making it in the world, that were claiming success, that were doing the things that I wanted to do. I'm somebody that wants to apply things, but I don't want to sit there in a classroom and fall asleep, because that's what happened. Okay. So I went to school for music. Why? Because it was the only thing that I could think about that I was passionate about, that I would want to do for the rest of my life, because I saw my dad struggle, and he worked for 35 years very hard to achieve what he has, but he would go out at 2:30 in the morning. He'd get a trouble call and he'd be out in the wind and rain and snow and sleet, and it would be awful. And he'd be up all night, and he lived that life for 35, almost 40 years. And so I knew that if I was going to live something, if I was expected to go to university and work for the next 40 years, I better be damn well something that I like doing, right? So I went to university for music. Well, I could see the big picture. I could see the clubs that kids were singing at, that your band's singing at, I could see them shutting down. I could see that people were getting paid less and less for gigs, that they were getting paid $100 for a gig to work 6 hours in a busy pub. And if you didn't take that gig, somebody else would. I saw that as a female, that I'd have to sleep my way to the top and I'd have to network with people that I didn't really want to schmooze with. Like, I wanted to make an impact. I didn't need attention. I wanted to make an impact. So I pivoted. I went to school for music. And then I realized, okay, what could I do if a priority for me is raising my family? What if having a family and raising children was my priority? What would I want then? So I decided that I was going to be a hairstylist. I decided that I was going to be able to do hair and make my own schedule. And maybe I would do hair during the day when my kids were at school. Or maybe I would start my own business and work from home. That was kind of always in the end game. Well, guess what happened in that industry? The cost of doing business kept going up and up and up, and I was making less money. Now, I'm very thankful that I found something else 5 years ago that I pivoted to, that I leveled up, because look, our lives aren't the same as our parents. We don't select a career and have that career for the rest of our lives, right? We have the ability to pivot. Izzy, would you like to say hello while you're on video?
Yeah.
Say hello.
Hello.
Okay, now I want to continue this, and then I'll come see you in a minute, okay? So it's not the same life that our parents lived. And so we have the ability to pivot. And if you are not paying attention to what is going on right now, time is speeding up with technology. So there's going to be two sides of the coin here. And I just want to give it to you straight on a Sunday, because I feel like this is the message that people need to hear, that it's okay to pivot. It's okay to look for other options. It's okay to level up. It's okay to increase your skill set and become valuable to other people. But there's going to be two people right now, as the time speeds up and things shift and change as quickly as they're going to change. The first type of person is going to get scared. They're going to be in that old school mindset that I've got to dig in and work harder and work through the pain, and that that in the end it'll all work out and we'll be taken care of. The government will take care of us. My employer will take care of us. Except all of these businesses are shutting down. I've talked to 3 people this week that have to sell their home because they had so much credit, because they were over leveraged. So they've got to sell their home and move. Like, I want this to be a wake up call that things are shifting and changing, and you need to pay attention, because there will be that side that 2020 is going to be the year that crushed them. But there's also going to be that side of people like us that are seeking opportunities and sitting at home on date nights over a glass of wine talking about how we're going to pivot. How are we going to make money right now? What's the solution to people's problems right now? How can we bring in another stream of income that's going to help people in our community, that's going to help our neighbors? What can we do? And that was the thing that we pivoted to when I realized the cost of doing business in my salon was going up and up and up, and I was making less money. It was important for me to be able to pivot and do something that made sense. I didn't want to trade my dollars for hours anymore. I didn't want to trade hours. Isabella, you're such a monkey. So I didn't want to trade that life for more hours so I could make more hours. What I wanted was to be able to come home and be with my daughter. What I wanted was to be able to work at home and have different set of problems, because you're going to have problems no matter what. And I'm so grateful that we had the chance to pivot when we did, because I look at my friends who are hairstylists and they're not making the same money as they used to because of all of the limitations and everything that they have to change in their business. I look at my friends who used to be servers and bartenders. I used to be a bartender. There are no $300 or $400 nights in service anymore. We used to have tip nights every weekend, $300-$400 for a 5-hour shift. It was incredible. And those days are over. And I don't know if people are actually realizing that it's not going back to the way that things were, especially, and you know what, it might, in a few years, 5 years time, everything might shift and change, but it's not going back now. So what are you going to do to pivot? And having those conversations and critical thinking and really figuring out, okay, how can I be part of the solution? Because again, what side of the coin do you want to be on? Do you want to be on the part that is growing during this time where people are panicked and stuck? Or do you want to be the person that pivots and is able to do something completely different? And I'm telling you that learning how to pivot has been the single thing that both my husband and I, that have totally changed the game in our lifestyle and has allowed us to live like we're retired. And none of this stuff, really phases us. Sure, it's a little bit more difficult these times. You being a monkey. Sure, it's a little bit more difficult. You know, we've got kids home a lot more often. We can't do the activities that we're used to doing. Sure. But what are you going to do to change the game? If you can learn how to pivot and not be that fly that keeps hitting the window time and time and time again, and you can learn to pivot and do something different, or take advantage of an opportunity right now to change the game for your family, then you need to do that. You need to do that. So I hope that hit home for some of you. If you have any questions about what we've been able to do, or you want to have a brainstorming session and be like, Christina, I'm thinking this, or maybe we could do this, or what do you think about this? Like, please reach out. There are more opportunities now than ever. Time is moving faster now than ever. And you're either going to jump on that rocket ship or you're going to get left behind. And the reason I do videos like this is because I want you to know that you have the same opportunity that we did. You have the exact same opportunity that we did to pay attention, to do some critical thinking, and to find a solution to a problem that you're having. And it's up to you to pivot. It's up for you to change the situation. So I hope you have an amazing day. Happy Sunday. Have the hard conversations. And if you want a quick consult, or you're thinking about how you can diversify in this market, please send me a message. I'd love to have a chat. Bye for now.
Bye for now.